do for a living. And I'm like, this is the best career ever.
You're literally changing people's days. And by changing your days, you're changing their lives.
Even if we weren't making money from this, I would still want to keep doing it because it's bringing people joy.
What advice would you have to aspiring content creators out there? From South Bend to Evansville and everywhere in between, this is Get In, the show focused on the Hoosier State and the incredible stories happening here today. I'm Nate Spangle, founder of Get Indiana, and I will be your host for today's conversation. Quick pause in the action to let you know that we are taking over Brown County this weekend. We will be at Moontown Brewing Friday, July 25th at 7:30 p.m., where we are opening a $1,000 bar tab for anyone who shows up as a reward for Nashville winning the Small Town Showdown Bracket Challenge. Then on Saturday, July 26th, we will be at the Hard Truth Bourbon and Barbecue Fest presented by Dave White and our friends at Great White Smoke. They're going to have live music ripping from noon until 9 p.m. and 31 different pit masters smoking up some of the best barbecue that the Midwest has to offer. Not only do they have good food, but they have a ton of other fun stuff going on. Here's what you can expect: bourbon and barbecue tastings and pairings, bourbon blending and cocktail crafting classes, VIP bourbon and cigar lounge, bourbon and barbecue marketplace, interactive competitions and outdoor activities like bourbon barrel roll races, barbecue toss and cornhole tournament, $10 entry for a $300 prize, and axe throwing. You can get tickets at hardtruth.com/events. Come on down this weekend and hang out with us and try some incredible bourbon and barbecue. We'll see you there. Today I'm joined by Kayla Sullivan, former journalist turned content creator with over 2 million followers across platforms. You may know her as the mom reporter on social media. I'm not even going to try my interview voice or my news reporter voice because we're going to get into that later. And she won the trend. Kayla's signature skits hilariously merge her broadcast background with relatable challenges of motherhood millions of moms face across the nation. Today, we're going to be talking about her journey from the Oklahoma State House to full-time content creator here in Fishers, Indiana, and the journey of what it's like to take that leap as a mom to go in and be a full-time content creator, and maybe talking to some fun ideas she has coming down the pipeline. Kayla, welcome to Get In.
Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
I feel like I have to talk today on the show, Get In, we are going to be talking about all things content creation and the motherhood life cycle of, I don't even know, I ran out of news words by that point.
I love making fun of my former self in news. There's a lot of things that TV news reporters do that are just easy to poke fun at, like shaking their head and saying, that's exactly right. I actually invented some anchors. Their names are Bob and Barb. So a lot of my videos I start out with, thank you, Bob and Barb, or that's exactly right, Bob and Barb. And so it's just been fun to kind of, make fun of myself and what I used to do in the industry.
Well, and it's like relatable because you see them and you see the nightly news or whatever it might be, and you're like, do they really talk like, and then you see them like, if you ever like get to interact with those people, it's like, maybe they don't quite talk like that in real life.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like some mashed potatoes, please.
Well, there's a reason it works. It's captivating. People listen when they hear that voice and they can understand it clearly. That's why in school we were taught to kind of speak in a special way like that. Some people take it a little too far. I do think as an industry, they're kind of straying away from that. You'll start to see people talking a little more conversationally, but they still sound professional, right? And so I like the news voice. Some people hate the news voice. Some people love it. Obviously, it's helped me create a second career, but also a career in news. I just think it's fun to create satire and to use my news writing skills to be relatable and make people laugh and make people smile. And I feel like everyone can relate to these. Even if you're not a parent, you know a kid or you know a parent, you know the situation.
Oh, I'm not close to being a parent, but I'm still I probably stumbled on your videos like 3 or 4 months ago maybe, and I just love it. I think it's so, because there's also the puns or like the jokes built in, and it is truly like art to me. As like I see content creation and I'm like, the amount of effort that goes into making all of those puns and whatever go and flow into the next one and rock and roll. I love it. But I mean, obviously this is not, I feel like not a career that a lot of journalists set out like, yep, I'm going to be a content creator. It's like you set out because I don't know, what was the original goal when you started a career in journalism?
I wanted to be a TV news reporter since the 4th grade. I loved dressing in blazers. I was seriously reporting on the kid news, the morning announcements. I was like, we are having chicken nuggets for lunch today. Like, I was very serious. And anyone who knew me knew that this is what I wanted to do. And I accomplished that dream. I went to school for it. I started out in West Lafayette. I was an anchor and TV news reporter there.
Were you from Indiana originally?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Indianapolis.
Okay. What high school?
Franklin Central.
Oh, go Flashes, baby. Come on. All right. So went to Franklin Central. Then where'd you go to college?
UND.
I just had Joey Molinaro on.
Oh, yeah.
And and so's Ben Like,
Yeah,
there's
we're
a lot
all
of
UND
creators
people.
going out of there. All right.
Yes.
That's sick. So went to UND, then ended up in West Lafayette. In that, what market number is that?
It's like 187. It's really low, but I love West Lafayette. I loved that community. It was the perfect place to start my career.
Yeah, I love that. And if anyone knows, I had Don Miranda on, and he does sports for WTHR. We like went into, because your market number is important when you're going through TV news. Any sort of like broadcasting, you want to like continue to like climb up markets, right? So he started in Terre Haute, which was like 190 something or whatever. So you started at 180, and then it's like every time you get a promotion, you want to try to like increase market size, right? And climb up that.
I went from West Lafayette to Indianapolis, so that was a pretty big market.
That's a huge jump.
And I was very proud of that. I did it as I think I had Alan like a month before. It was very, like, I was fresh out of maternity leave, and I went to Indianapolis because that was always the goal. I was planning to retire in Indianapolis because I'm from here. You know, my grandma was watching me on TV. I loved it. But it ended up being really difficult as a mom, and I barely ever saw my son. And so I decided, you know, hey, like, my son is starting to call my mom and my sister mom. I need to take a break because I'm not
hard.
it was very hard. And, you know, in that career as a journalist, I did not want to do it halfway. I wanted to be all in. And so I started to realize that even when I wasn't at work, I was looking for story ideas. I was working sources. I was doing things that weren't related to being a mom. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to take a 9-to-5 in PR. I moved to Oklahoma, worked for the State House, and I was bored out of my mind.
Why Oklahoma?
I wanted it to make sense because I worked for the State House as a reporter, and it just made sense that this opportunity was working for the State House there. I had skills in PR, and I knew how that worked because I was a reporter. So it was kind of like the reversal of what I was doing. I understood how it all worked. So it made sense. I thought it was interesting at the time when I was in it. It wasn't terrible. I was doing personality profiles, so it was actually kind of fun at times. But I just didn't feel challenged enough, and I didn't feel like I was just missing TV is what it was.
And at this point, were you a single mom?
Yeah, I was.
And so, like, you talked about your mom and sister were like really active, but to pick up you and your son and move across the country.
Yeah, I didn't have a support system, but it actually was kind of awesome because I got to reconnect with my son. And because my hours.
How old was he at that point?
He was 2. So I was like, you know what, this is perfect. I'm going to be all in on my son. I was there for, you know, I could leave work for, you know, a special field trip or whatever with his preschool. I could do all the things that I want to do. If he was sick, I could work from home. It provided this flexibility that news never allowed for.
And that's the thing. I mean, how old were you at that point?
Gosh, what was I, 28?
28. So you had been kind of going through the grind for 4, 5, 6 years of the reporter. Early on, you don't make very much money and you work a ton of hours.
Yeah.
You know, like the work-life balance of these like young, hungry reporters, because it's like you want to get to this next market and you want to keep going and keep going. And it's like, it's not a cake job. I don't even think, once you get to the top, it's still not a cake job.
It's never.
Like,
but you do it because you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is I was passionate about my community. I was passionate about the news. I was passionate about journalism, you know. And I really loved working for the State House and being part of history, being in the room where it happens. I would always sing that song.
Yeah. Were there any like moments from those first years in the State House that you were, I mean, that you still like look back on like, wow, I can't believe I was there when they did
COVID. I was there during when COVID broke out and the governor was telling us we all had to stay home. It was surreal. I was the one reporting that because I was the government reporter. So I came to every single one of Governor Holcomb's.
You're like in quotations on Twitter or whatever. It's like, governor says, stay inside.
Yes.
Like that's
it
crazy.
It was bizarre. And it was scary, but it was exciting. And I felt so important, you know, because I was relaying important information to the public.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was mom of a very young boy.
And then you have to like balance that of, is it your dream and your aspirations, or now you have to take care of a young life that is, you know, that's going to look up to you and the bonds you have there. So you pick up and you go to Oklahoma. Obviously more flexibility. That's awesome. What year was this when you're out in Oklahoma?
So it would have been 2021 through 2022.
Okay, so you're out there for a year?
Yeah.
Okay. And obviously you're saying like, you know, it wasn't the most riveting work, but you got to connect with your son. And somewhere along this portion, the portion, like the creative outlet starts to form, and you want to go and create more content while you're working, correct?
Well, I went viral while I was working at the State House.
Oh.
So that helped me leave the State House.
When did you start posting? Like how? Because a lot of people think it's like, oh, I make one video, it goes viral, and I quit my job, and I'm a millionaire. 1 million views does not equate to dollars. Just so everyone knows.
No, it doesn't. So, but I gained a following very quickly.
Really?
So because I kept on it. So when you have your first viral, this is my advice to content creators. Your first viral video is such an opportunity that you have to capitalize on, because once you're viral, people are seeing you and they want to decide, do I want to follow this person? So I knew right then when my mock news report went viral, I needed to create another mock news report, because then that became my brand.
Okay.
So I posted a video that was part of the trend to talk in your news voice, and I changed my son's diaper in the video, and it went super viral on New Year's Eve. So it was almost 2022 at this point. So it's New Year's Eve. Carrie Underwood commented on it. Like all of these famous
Shut up.
Like people, Steve Harvey shared it. It was crazy. And so
what platform?
knew this was TikTok.
Wow.
So
Carrie Underwood's on TikTok. Good for her.
Yeah, she was, at least then. I don't know if she still is. So anyway, I was super excited, and on New Year's Day, so New Year's Eve it goes viral. New Year's Day, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna post another one. And so that's when I wrote and recorded my Olive Garden terrorist attack of my 2-year-old terrorist. He held me hostage at the Olive Garden. So that was my mock news report. That one has, I think, 38 million views. And that's the one that went the most viral. And that was the one that gained me the most following. And then from there, people started commenting, do a news report about this, do something on brushing your child's teeth, do something on, and they started suggesting. And then I took it and I ran with it. And then news outlets started interviewing me. And so I was on, the Fox Morning News, and my son was interviewed, and I was on News Nation, and I was on all these big news outlets that were interviewing
quickly?
me. Oh, within a week. And so I'm working for the Oklahoma State House, like calling and asking permission if I can do these national interviews, because I didn't know they were going to be weirded by it.
Wow.
And so they were like, yeah, sure, why not? It doesn't relate to
how
your
many
job.
how many videos had you posted before the news trend went viral?
I mean, I had posted like personal stuff. I never expected to really go viral. So I was like posting Alan's childhood or just funny little things here and there. But I was not trying.
Like you weren't trying to be a creator. You were just creating.
Yeah. And then when I saw the opportunity, I capitalized on it.
So first video, first one hits and you're like, yep, this is my thing.
Yeah. I mean, it made sense, right? Because I love doing news reporting. I love the news voice. And I love being a mom. It combined my passions. And it was like I stumbled into this career where it was the best of both worlds. And so I just kept creating, and I haven't stopped since. And so now we're, in 2025, and I'm doing this full time.
Yeah, 3 years. Yeah, the last day of 2021.
Yeah.
So you've been doing it, just over 3 years, which is incredible. I feel like a lot of times half the battle. So your story is awesome because the one hit, and then you knew and had the wherewithal not to just be a one-hit wonder, but to make some more trends about this, which is great. It takes a lot of creativity. I think a lot of times it's like people post for like a year, and then finally the 700th video that goes out starts to get some traction, and then you keep going off of that. So it's cool to see both sides of the story there. So you are out in Oklahoma City. You have your first couple viral videos. You're doing these national interviews. What brings you back home to Indiana?
The opportunity to come back home to Indiana. So I started making money off social media.
How quickly did you start making money?
Very quickly, within a month. Brands just started reaching out. I mean, I had over 300,000 followers overnight, basically. So it was crazy.
And how did you know the value of that?
I didn't until I was told the value of that.
Okay, so you are making these fun news reports, and what was the first brand that reached out to you?
Ooh, Skippy and Welch's. They were doing a peanut butter and jelly just advertisement, I guess. It was
so they DM you.
Yeah,
right?
literally, yeah.
They DM you and say, yo, we'd like to do a video with you.
Yeah.
And what do you say?
I say, how much should I charge?
You
I don't know
ask
what
them?
I do. Well, I asked them there, but I'm learning this on the fly. So I had to kind of self-teach, I'm like, do I Google how much I should charge?
And at this point, you had 300,000 on TikTok within a month.
Yeah. I think I had 300,000 within a couple weeks. It was it went fast. And I think it's because I built that brand quickly. So I was like, I need at least I started making videos every day at that point of these mock news reports. And they were so easy for me to crank out because I'm a former news reporter.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, this is easy. I can report on my kid and I can do a news voice. And I think because I was so good at the news voice and I was doing stereotypical things that news reporters do, yes, the shaking of the head and just the corny jokes that they make sometimes, and just the wordplay and being clever with how I phrased things was how people they just thought it was funny. They thought it was entertaining and they're like, I want to keep seeing these. So they would follow along.
And it is uplifting and funny. And it's good content, but it's also using the skills that like, I don't know if I could I know I could not. I could not just go out and make a good news video, like 90 seconds, because I'd have to take so much time studying all the like stuff that goes into it. You're just like it's satire of your previous life as a journalist, but it's not satire to like the Onion satire. It's like fun and uplifting, stories.
Sometimes it's satire like the Onion satire. That's like my dream job. But
Oh,
I don't
really?
ever but the difference is what I like to do is I like to pick topics that no one can disagree on. Like I don't want to ever be controversial. So I'm always like trying to be very careful about like what is so relatable that everyone's experienced, that this isn't going to create a division in my comment section. Rarely do I ever have people fighting in my comments, which is like so rare, right? So I like being that brave.
I have like a tenth of what you have, and it's rare. Like all I hear is people complaining in my comments and calling me an idiot and telling me to move.
They say mean things about me or like, whatever, you ignore that. But I'm talking about like, it never gets political. It never gets, it's never something controversial. It's always something silly. It's always something wordplay, dad jokes. You can't really, people might think that's dumb, but that's not, I don't consider that controversial if somebody says my content is dumb. But they're not fighting amongst themselves. It's not leaning a certain way politically. It's not leaning a certain way on a controversial topic. I guess you could kind of think that, I kind of take a knock, and it's not even a knock at gentle parenting. It's more a knock at my ability to gentle parent. There's a difference. So in my number one viral video, I say, I tried gentle parenting and I completely suck at it. I'll keep trying. Back to you, and so I'm making fun of myself, basically saying, this is hard. It's hard to be a gentle parent, and that's the big trend, right? In some cases, people argued about whether gentle parenting was effective. But most of my videos are just silly.
Yeah.
Most of my videos are just, you take your kids to the beach and they've got sand everywhere. They got this, and it's just like relatable stuff that you would experience.
And
as
it's
a
like
kid.
you get home, like you just tuck your kid in, you like open up Instagram to like get your 10 minutes of swipes in, and you see this, you're like, oh, she gets it.
Yes.
She gets it. But I do want to go back into how do you come upon a price? I made $400 on my first video, and I thought I was so rich.
Yeah.
Like the first paid video, they gave me $400, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, let's go!"
Well, yeah, and that was kind of where I was at. I was like, "What's good? What's not?"
But it's like when you're just starting, I'm like, "Someone's gonna pay me to make videos." Like you would do this. I don't know if you do it for free. I would like if budgets didn't matter. Like I would do this kind of thing for free. Like I love it so much, and I think that you're probably similar.
I think that's the general public's perception, right? Like, why is she doing an ad? That's so annoying, And at the same time, like, I do most of my content for free. Most of my content isn't sponsored. So you are getting it for free. But occasionally I need to support myself so I can keep coming up with this creative content. Yeah. And so for me, I think that it's just the price. I work so hard to make my ads still relatable, still funny. You barely feel like it's an ad, because I don't want to kill my brand, but also like that's my talent. Like I want you to see, wow, she can do this while still being entertaining. And I think that shouldn't be criticized. That should be like celebrated. Like, wow. Yes. And anytime I see a content creator that makes an ad that's really entertaining, I always comment, I always share it, I always give them kudos, because that's difficult work. Because most of the time when we're getting these ads and we're getting the briefs that come along with it, they're telling us what they want us to say. So we have to push back and say, that's not interesting. That's not fun. Nobody wants to hear those talking points. This is how we promote your product. And so you kind of go back and forth with the brand and you come up with something that works and entertains. It's
a true art form to be able to make where the person consuming it doesn't realize that it was an ad until the very end of it,
and you can
like
disclose
you obviously say that, but it's like because it's so entertaining,
yes,
that it's like, oh, like even though those are my favorite videos where it's like I would have made this video for free, like I love this thing, like this is awesome. Are there specific brand campaigns that you've worked on that you're like, that thing rocked, like that was one of my best ones?
I just love working with brands that I use every day. Like Fisher Price was really exciting for me because it's Fisher Price, you know, like wow. And
Maybe you've heard of them.
Yeah, and P&G, like I did a tampon commercial that was pretty hilarious. I did a commercial for Love Every, which is a really cool subscription toy company that really helped me with Alan when he was growing up and just developmental skills. So it was a dream for them to reach out and want to work with me. You know, I've worked with Amazon. I've worked with Kroger and Wendy's. Wendy's is hilarious. So the fact that they wanted to work with me, you know,
their Twitter, their Twitter,
so
is
funny.
it all their social media? I only know their Twitter is really like funny and satirical.
I mean, their TikTok's hilarious too.
Really?
Yeah, they have Wendy like as a person, basically like making. You have to check it out. It's
Okay,
funny.
we'll have to look at that. I mean, you getting to work with the biggest. So as that first was, you said it was Skippy and Welch's,
Which is huge. Like that's a huge brand.
and for that to be your first one, I feel like everyone's first one's usually like the car wash down the street or whatever.
You know, I still wanted stability. I still wanted insurance, you know, and I was like, what if I can do these satirical videos locally at a TV station? So I reached out to Wish TV.
While you're still working in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So you're keeping stuff the same out there.
And, well, I had plans of moving back home. Yeah, but I wanted to have stability, so I needed a job back home. So I reach out and they loved it. They were locally owned, and so they were like, yeah, like we have the freedom to do what you want to do. And since I was in such a cool position and I was growing so rapidly on social media, I was able to kind of negotiate a really flexible schedule that you just don't see in TV. So at the time, I was working 3 days a week, but recording my other 2 days. But I was still a full-time employee. I was still doing, you know, getting my benefits. I was still able to support my family.
And what did it look like on Wish TV?
It was called Kidding with Kayla. It was a segment, basically. And so I would air one of my stories, and it would be like the topic. So if the topic was tantrums at the Olive Garden, like my most viral video, then we would talk about, you know, I'd air the little clip of my video, and then I'd chat with the anchors or the lifestyle hosts about that issue, right? And so we'd all be able to relate to each other, and I'd be like, you know what? These are the things that actually do work when your kid's throwing a tantrum. Or I'd just expand upon it a little bit. But I also had another segment on Wish TV that was called Real Talk with Kayla, and so I would share viral TikToks in general, and then I would interview the people who created them. So I was kind of doing what you're doing with me right now. I would talk to them about how they got into content creation or something like that. So,
And that was all going out under Wish?
yeah, at the time. I don't work for them anymore. But at the time, that was really beneficial to me because not only was I still doing brand deals on my social media, but I was also working in traditional television.
Were there rules that they put into place about the brands you could work with?
That was my stipulation, was that I could work with. So because I was lifestyle and I just had a segment, I wasn't their official, you know, like host or something like that. Because in most situations, if you work for a TV station, they kind of own your likeness. So I had to make sure that they didn't own my likeness because I wanted to be able to use it for myself. It was the workaround, right? Because you make more money off social media, like period. Like I could never, like unless I was working for a national news outlet, I would probably not make more money in TV because the money is better in social media. That's where a lot of advertiser dollars are going now. And so for me, it wasn't as much about the money. It was about the stability. You know, I was new to content creation, so I was a little afraid that I wouldn't be able to continue.
How long from your first viral video before you were back in Indy working with Wish?
So I went viral New Year's Eve. I started working at Wish in June. So
6 months.
Yeah.
And you continued to post 6 months and like continue like bring in. Well, how many followers did you have by the time you got back to Wish in June?
I had like 800,000. Yeah, I hit 1 million while I was at Wish on TikTok, and then I started growing my Instagram. So like Instagram wasn't a priority for me yet. I kept my Instagram private for a while, which was so dumb. I don't know why I did that. I think I was like scared. And TikTok seemed to grow so rapidly, so I didn't think I needed it. And then I was like, no. Then there started being debates about canceling TikTok.
And you're like,
and so I was like, I better monetize another platform.
When you convert your personal personal Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, to create content, you do give up the like, hey, my friends and I can post silly stuff.
I think
or
my
whatever.
friends hate it. Like I think my true friends are like, can you just post a picture like a normal person? You know?
Like, yeah, can't do that. Like
you can't anymore. Like you have to make it related to your brand. So
I go back and forth. I'd be eager to hear your thoughts. Well, especially because you have such a personality. Like of the voice and the videos and stuff, and which is a little bit different than like a typical maybe lifestyle creator that's like, oh, I'm doing this artsy thing today.
Yeah.
You post a picture at like Easter or whatever, and like whatever the thing might be, it's like, okay, 2,000 people might be like, yeah, I didn't sign up for that, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like I don't actually this is bad. And
I don't care about
this.
you.
I don't care about you.
You're so right.
Just like be funny, like dance,
Be funny.
clown.
Dance monkey is what I say all the time. I'm like, they don't want that. They want me to do what, and that's what's so important about branding yourself on social media. People follow. The reason I got so many followers, I'm convinced of it, is because they knew what they were gonna get with me. They were like, I like that. That's funny. Keep that up. But sometimes it gets stale. So what I've ended up doing is I've started kind of diversifying my content. I started singing. I started writing parodies. And I started doing little skits, kind of, but related to mom, related to parenting, related to funny, relatable things. But I'm expanding my brand just a little bit, not only because people might get tired of the news report stuff, but I also want to show brands that I am versatile and that there's other things I can do if they're not looking for a news report about their product. Maybe I'll write them a parody. Maybe I'll write them a skit. So it kind of allows me to be more marketable in the space of content creation.
I could literally go into like 1,000 pieces of this because I think it's so fascinating. You come back to Wish, you have some stability. How long did you end up staying there?
So I had a 2-year contract there.
Which I do want to give them credit. Like they kind of took a chance on something a little more interesting and innovative.
Absolutely.
Like that's pretty cool to
Yeah.
see. I always say like traditional media, like seeing that there's a thing here that you could do and be like, oh yeah, we want that to be part of our station.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
I think that more TV stations are going to have to start thinking outside the box because look where the advertiser money is going.
Oh yeah.
To social media. I mean, that's why I'm making more money on social media than I ever did in traditional television because advertisers know where people's faces are and it's their phones.
Yeah.
And I think they are. I mean, you see people, WTHR just started with their WTHR Plus streaming app. You've got these traditional media companies doing things that they didn't do before because they know that they have to be flexible and they have to change with the times. So I think we're going to see more of that. And I hope that we'll see more of that for me. My passion lies in local TV, so I might go back to local TV because I love it.
Just because you love it?
I love it. I love everything about it. I mean, remember 4th grade Kayla would report on the news? Like, I love it, but I don't want to do news. I've changed my passion to entertainment, but for the community. I love bringing a smile to people during the day. What I used to bring was doom and gloom, and I didn't actually like that. I didn't like it, but I loved utilizing the skills that I have. I loved being able to speak in a certain way. I loved being able to be on camera. I loved being able to connect with my community and know what was going on in my community. When you work for a TV station, you know what's going on in your community and you care about your community and you provide and you are a service for the community. You are a voice. And so I would love to continue doing that on a local TV basis.
That's wild. I can't imagine. You might be the only creator that has over 2 million followers that's like, yeah, you know what I want to do? Go work on TV.
I want to save TV.
You're on a mission to save local television. Okay, take me through. You did a 2-year contract with Wish. By the end of that, I'm assuming you were over 1 million followers.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, at the end of it, where you're like, man, I gotta keep doing that. Like,
no, I still loved it. They actually let me go. They were having their own things. I think they were, I don't know. But not talking about them specifically, I did feel comfortable enough to go out on my own though.
Okay.
Like I was ready. I was like, okay, like I think I could make this work full time.
Yeah.
If they don't want to re-sign me, I'm okay. Like I don't have to go. I mean, I technically have a non-compete right now. My non-compete's almost over. So I wasn't able to go get a TV job somewhere. But I didn't really need that because I made enough money from social media that I was like, you know what? I can just do this.
So your time with Wish comes up. What was that in 2024?
Yes.
Okay. Your time with Wish comes up in 2024 and you're like, okay, day one, like you were already a business owner, but it wasn't the only thing.
It wasn't the only thing, yeah.
And then it's like your first day, your last day at Wish, you wake up the next day. What do you do?
It was kind of crazy. So luckily I did get married. So, I was super supported at that time. And, at that point I was like so in love and I was getting married and I was happy. And so
did your spouse know at the time? Like how did you meet before or after you went viral?
we met after I went viral. And part of going viral helped me meet my husband.
Really?
Yeah, he was already following me. So it's funny because my husband was following me for news purposes. So my husband works for the government and I was a government reporter. So he was already following me because he liked my reporting. Because he had to follow me. He had to follow me to get information.
Yeah.
So he started following me on Twitter, at least during the pandemic, to get his information about the pandemic. And then, so he knew of me, but at the time, I think we were both in another relationship. It wasn't time to like meet me like that, but he knew of my work.
Yeah.
And so then when I started going viral for my new stuff, like he saw it, like he was like, oh, that's funny too. I guess he started, I think that was when he followed me on Instagram. But he reached out when he saw, because I was on a dating app. So he reached out and he was like, hey, like, I love your content. Like, you're funny. Like, I actually followed you when you were a news reporter. So he kind of reached out knowing that I did this, which was so nice because when I was dating before that, I kind of had to break it to people what I did for a living. And I always wondered, like, are they gonna think this is weird?
Oh, when I met my girlfriend's parents, and I had to explain what I do for a living. And it's like you meet, dad for the first time, and you shake his hand. You're, so what do you do, son? Like,
but you interview people. I was doing mock news reports with random items as my
that's true. I mean, that's
like yours is not embarrassing. Like mine was embarrassing. And so I had to like explain to them the whole story. But Jonathan already knew my story. Like he was like, oh, I think you're hilarious. I think you're talented. I think you're so like it was so nice to have that support.
Yeah.
And he's funny. He's entertaining. Like he actually grew up kind of wanting to be a meteorologist. So he watches the news a lot. He isn't a meteorologist. He works in government. But he liked it. He was into it. And so that really helped because I had that support system. And he comes up, like he and I come up with content all the time together. Like he'll be like, oh, you got to write that down. That's funny. Or we should do a report about that or
That's
whatever.
Fun.
So and he's been in my reports. He's been in my ads before. Like he's been a big part of that. And I feel like you kind of have to be like, who would, if somebody wasn't on board, like you can't, you both have to be part of it.
How often has he like had to carry a camera for you?
Oh, he was my number one photographer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I tell Lauren that Lauren's always like just holding this thing up for me. I'm like, yep, come on.
We joke. I really want to do a video about like what it's like to be a content creator husband and make it really dramatic, like over dramatize it because
my thumbs hurt from pressing the record button.
Yeah, and I think it's been done before, but we could do a report about it. I think it'd be great. So yeah, he's on board, and that's how we met, and it worked out.
That's fun. I love it because it's like he sees you on a dating app, and it's like, oh, it slides in your DMs, like,
Yeah.
And it's like you gotta, I don't know, check it, like make sure you have 100 or 1,000,000 followers. It's like you probably get a ton of DMs. Like, good thing you looked at that one.
Well, it was more like because it was a dating app. It was like I didn't really respond to. I'm glad he didn't DM me, but he
it was on the
a
dating app.
app. Yeah, so
okay.
like we matched on a dating app, so it was
okay.
mutual. Like I think he sent me a rose. It was Hinge.
Wow, a
He
rose.
sent me a rose.
From rose to married. Incredible.
Yeah.
Wow,
And
we love that.
It was fun. It was cool because we probably passed each other at the State House all the time, but we never met.
Oh my gosh.
And so we talked about that. And he actually proposed at the State House. So that was really meaningful to me too, because we both worked there. We passed each other in the hallways forever. And then we finally met when the time was right.
Yeah.
And then so fast forward, I think the reason we got on the topic of Jonathan was because at the time that Wish wasn't going to re-sign me, I was getting married. And so then I was getting, dual income. I had insurance. So I felt like I could take that leap. And a lot of content creators reach out to me and they're like, okay, when did you feel safe? And I'm like, you have to have like a safety net, right? Like you have to have insurance. You
Never.
have to have.
The answer is never.
But it does help that somebody else is providing insurance. That if I have a lull in brand deals, like we can make it work. So you have to have that safety net. But if I were still single, I think I could still make it work. Actually, I know I could still make it work. But the scary part is for how long, and so and it's like I could get canceled tomorrow. You know what I mean? So you have to always be thinking.
That's so true. Oh man, I'm like, it's nerve wracking for you. But it's like people from the outside look at, oh, it's so fun. You get to make these fun news reports, these fun videos. Like it is still a job. Like you have to create every day. And one slip up or something and you could get canceled. Like that's the real reality. Big news from my friends over at Hope Plumbing, now Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. You heard that right. They are now your one-stop shop for home services, offering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical. New name, added services, but same trustworthy, loyal company. They treat your home like their very own, and now that includes HVAC as well. Book your next home services appointment with Hope and mention Get Indiana, and Hope will give you a free membership for a year. A membership includes important services like whole home plumbing inspection, a free mainline drain snaking, 2 seasonal HVAC inspections, and so much more. That's a deal you can't miss out on. Call Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling and start saving today. Now let's get back into the show. I will say the insurance thing always seems to be like everyone asks, like, how do you have it? It's like I bought it on the market. It's like $270 a month for like my insurance. Like it's not a crazy amount of money to have insurance. Like obviously I don't have a family. I'm a single, person. But I was like, everyone always asks or wants to talk about how do you get insurance as a content creator? It's like maybe Instagram or someone needs to roll out like the Meta insurance.
Smart.
Hey, Mark, I know you're an avid listener of the pod. Please roll that out for us. You're doing this full time. Were there any moments along that journey that just like stand out as like, this was a defining moment, kind of catapulted you to the next level and the next, like those moments where you look back and I'm really proud of that?
I think it's just the gravity of the number of people that view my content and, where I travel. Like I went on my honeymoon to Italy and people were like, Kayla Sullivan? And I was like, I'm in Italy and I'm getting recognized.
No
like, what
way.
is happening? Like, just realizing that your content reaches so many different people. But also...
This just in, would you pass the peas?
Yeah, like, it's wild. And it is realizing that you can relate to my content no matter where you're from. There are other cultures that think I'm funny. Canadians, especially, because they're super self-deprecating, they love me. So it's funny to see like, oh wow, like I appeal to different cultures. I appeal to different countries too. And also some of the collaborations that I've done have been really cool. So I met the Jonas Brothers when they came into Indianapolis. They invited me back to their like dressing rooms to interview them. And I did content with them. And then John Legend, I went to his house. And I did a report for Fisher Price at John Legend's house, and he privately sang to the content creators there. And I'm in John Legend's house, and I'm like, my son is misbehaving in John Legend's house. It was bizarre. Like that's when
so
it
awesome.
hit me like, what is my life right now?
Like those moments, where you just like look at and you're like, oh my, I am in John Legend's house, or I'm with the Jonas Brothers. Is there a piece of content that you put out that, and maybe not necessarily just by views, like did the best, but like the piece that you're the proudest of? You're like, this was art.
I have a hard time not putting value on things that didn't go viral. You know what I mean? Like you kind of get bummed out because you thought something was going to go viral, but it never does. If I ever think something's going to go viral, it's going to flop.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh my God. It's so frustrating.
I edited like the perfect video the other day, and I was like, the first 3 seconds, I'm like, there's a flamethrower in this whole thing. And I'm like, everyone's going to love that.
No.
Freaking. It did all right, but it's not like...
I think sometimes I think things are hilarious that just like don't hit right. And I'm like, man, like I did an interview with a French fry the other day. Like I was like, this is the French fry that's been laying on the floor of my car. I thought it was hilarious. And it like just didn't hit the way that I wanted it to, I think. And so sometimes you just kind of are disappointed in yourself. Like, oh man, like why did I not see that this was going to be, not as funny as I hoped. But then there are some things that, I'm like, wow, I didn't even realize that would affect people in that way. And that's so exciting that they got so much from this or they laughed so hard. Or I think the moments that I'm most proud of myself would be when it inspires somebody to message me and be like, I was having the worst day or I'm going through the toughest time in my life, but my one bright spot was your video. And I was astonished by the number of people that would reach out and take the time to tell me that. And it just gives you the fuel to keep going because you're like, wow, like, what I do is making a difference, and it's making a difference in a way that I never thought I would be making a difference. I loved informing the public. I loved providing entertainment for the public, but to provide happiness, to provide like a minute of relief from their tough time. I had a mom ask me to go to lunch with her one day, and I didn't know her, but she was like, I'm in town. Like, I would love to meet you. And so I just did it. I don't know why. That was kind of weird. But when I went there... I'm so glad I did because she let me know that her daughter was in a severe accident where she got burned and she was in the hospital for a really long time. And the only thing that would make her smile or laugh were my videos. And I didn't even know kids watched my videos. And so she was like, I just wanted to personally thank you because while my daughter was in the hospital, she got joy from your videos. And so I was like, man, like the impact that this can have on people is so fun and so fulfilling. So even if, like you said earlier, even if we weren't making money from this, I would still want to keep doing it because it's bringing people joy.
In a world where it's like every second thing you see on your phone is negative and doom and gloom and like the end is near, to like be a bright spot that you where you put out this such fun, humorous, well thought out, well executed content, you're literally changing people's days. And by changing their days, you're changing their lives, right?
Oh, thank you.
That's awesome.
I don't know all that, but it does feel really good to just be that bright spot. And that's why I have that passion to maybe go back into local TV, because you watch the news where I was born in my career and you do feel down. Like you do feel sad about the world. So like if I could bring that little break to the news, or I could bring that little break to local TV in my community, I want to be able to do that. Because I still want them to watch that. Like they need to be informed. I'm very passionate about people being informed still. Even though my content doesn't really inform, it more entertains. Though you could argue that I inform about what motherhood is really like. And a lot of people will joke with me like, you helped me solidify my decision to not have children, or you helped me solidify the decision to wait, or, you know, whatever. Because sometimes I talk about the realities, but then I also, in a way, in many of my videos, talk about the joys of being a parent and how much fun it is. And I know, you know, in my parody song that I did at this Slick City slide place in Brownsburg.
Yeah, I saw that one.
I did it to the tune of A Whole New World, Aladdin, because they're like on those magic carpet rides.
Yeah.
And the whole reason I came up with that is because I was like, this feels like a magic carpet ride. Like this feels like, and I was like, ooh, I could sing this song to that.
And when you bust out, like you have a good singing voice too. I was like, what can't Kayla do? Let's go.
Well, I grew up doing theater and musical theater and all of that stuff. So
That
it all
checks out.
kind of coincides with what my passions are. That's why I'm so grateful for this outlet, because I have literally been able to combine all of my loves: acting, news, singing, momming, like all these things I do for a living. And I'm like, this is the best career ever.
This is so sick. Yeah, wild to, you know, get to every day, come in, go, whatever you have to do for work today. It's fun. But the topics, when I think of like what your videos are about, there are other creators, mom type creators, that are making similar content.
Oh, yeah.
Like we'll talk about this. It's just all in the delivery.
It is.
You know, like the art comes in the delivery.
I'm so lucky that I found a brand that works for me and that I could literally do any topic on. And I get inspiration from other people's videos. And, and I tag them when I'm inspired by them. But like, I think this is a good example. It's not always mom topics. It could just be punny. Like I love being like dad jokes, but I brand them mom jokes. But you know, like anything that could be clever. So there's these Pika booty leggings that went viral. And so I was like, you know what would be really funny? If I did a news report that the plumbers are upset about this because crack is their signature look, you know, showing the cracks.
I saw that. I died laughing.
And, you know, because I saw someone else make content about these Pika booty leggings, I was like, ooh, I could do my own content in my own brand, in my own way, write puns, write funny, you know, and so
there was a lot of puns in that one too.
There were.
It was like, it was just like every third word was like connecting to the next one. It was art.
And it was fun because, you know, when I do those puns, sometimes brands want puns. So I did an ad for IHOP, and I did so many breakfast puns in this ad that it was entertaining. It was fun. It still, featured I think it was their Halloween breakfast menu. And so I did it with all of these breakfast puns, and it worked out. And so what's nice about what I do is brands see it, and they might want that in their ad because they're not going to always want a news report. They want to do whatever works with your audience. So if puns work, if parodies work, if skits work, like they want what's going to get the most reaction, the most engagement, and the most views. So it helps for my career to diversify my content.
Do you have advice for aspiring content creators on what they should do? I mean, you've been doing this for over 3 years now. And a lot of people, you know, fizzle out early on and never make it to, not only do they not make it to 1 million, they never make it to 10,000, 5,000 followers. What advice would you have to aspiring content creators out there?
If you do happen to go viral, capitalize on that moment. and listen to your commenters. They'll tell you what they want to see, and then use their comments and respond to them, because when they see that you're listening to them, then they'll be like, ooh, I want to comment. So then she listens to me for the next one. It allows them to feel connected with you. Always respond to comments, especially if they're positive. I don't respond to very many negative ones, but I do try to respond to all the positive ones I can, because I want to build a connection to them. I appreciate that they followed me. I appreciate that they're supporting my content, and I thank them a lot, because I think that that's important, that you thank your followers. And even if you're only at 5,000, those 5,000 people you should be thanking. You should be trying to grow and appreciate them, because they think you're entertaining. They are following you for a reason.
Yeah, I always say like 5,000 mark is kind of, maybe like 3,500 to 5,000 is where you kind of make the transition to be a creator.
Yeah.
Because like from meeting people, shaking hands, and trading Instagrams, you can get to like 2,500 to 3,000 probably. But once you get over 3,500, it's like there are people you've never met before in real life that know your name or like something that you're putting out, that follow you. And that's like where the first domino falls into place.
Yeah,
I feel
take
like.
joy from that. They could follow anyone and they chose you, and so that's a big compliment. Trying to find that brand, staying within your brand. You can diversify a little bit, but everything I do still fits in the umbrella of what I'm doing, and so I think that's been really beneficial to me. We talked about earlier, I can't just post a random selfie, or some people be like, what? I didn't sign up for that. So you gotta give the people what they signed up for.
Does that get frustrating sometimes? Like when you just want to like capture a family picture and share it with your closest friends?
It's funny because I kind of lost the urge to do that when I started, because it's exhausting to, create content. So I'm like, no, I don't ever like miss just posting to post to update my friends and family. Maybe that's age, maybe that's just, whatever. I kind of use Facebook for that, I guess, but I have my own personal Facebook page, so maybe that's where I do that. And so I get that itch scratched that way. But honestly, like, I enjoy doing my brand. Like my brand is actually very true to me. And that's another piece of advice that I would have for people is stay true to yourself. Don't try to be something you're not. If you are naturally aesthetic, stay aesthetic. If you are naturally messy, show that you're messy, or show that because people know when you're not being yourself. They know when you're not being real. And if you enjoy it, if you're having fun, people will have fun watching it. So if you're not having fun, I think people pick up on that. And I think, the people who are the most passionate about it and the ones who really enjoy it do the best, because you can see that come out in their content.
Oh yeah, like it's very clear. Like when you see your content, that's like you have a journalistic background, and like you don't just like wake up one day and have that good of a news reporter voice. Like you have definitely honed your craft there, and people see that, and it comes through, and it's not just like a comedian who might have one 30-second sketch acting like a news reporter. It's like, no, this is a news reporter that's also funny. Like, congrats. I love it. Any final like tips, advice, parts of the journey that you want to share?
Yeah, I encourage, if you aren't already, to follow me. I really care about Indiana. And it's funny because I wanted to talk about Indiana a little bit on this, because I love being from Indiana. And one of the great benefits of my content is that I get to inform other people about what's in Indiana. And I take that so seriously because I love showing, like I did a reel about the new IMS museum and the Children's Museum. I think that's the content that you first saw, was my Mickey Mouse exhibit report. And so letting people know that Indiana's cool is like my passion.
Oh, well, I mean, you segued us perfectly. And as we wrap up the show, I have a bunch of fun Indiana questions to ask you, which I love. And it's always how we end the show. And we're going to start with a question from our friends at Or Fellowship. They're a great organization here in Indiana, helping develop young business leaders across the state. So Kayla, what advice would you give to your 22-year-old self?
Started doing this sooner, maybe. I think I missed out on my son a little bit, but I don't know how soon I could have done it, right? Because I think I kind of needed, to experience what I experienced to be able to do what I do today. So I think just know that the hard work that you're doing is going to pay off eventually. I think at 22, I was making maybe $20,000 a year, something like that. Maybe 20 something.
Dude,
yeah, it was my
journalist,
first job.
man.
Yeah. And so I think I was like, will I ever be at that level? And my dream was to be in Indianapolis, just to tell myself that it's going to be worth it. Keep doing what you're doing. You're going to reach your goals. I would not say that I have any regrets. Like, I don't think that I could tell my 22-year-old self anything that I would do differently, because if I did anything differently, then I wouldn't be where I am today. Like, every mistake that I made led me to where I am, and so I just am so appreciative for the mistakes that I made, and I needed to make them to be who I am. So that's a difficult question because I really wouldn't change anything because I needed to do the wrong thing to figure out what the right thing was. And now I have the husband and the family that I wanted, and the son and the working mom and the balance and all of the things, and I'm living out my passion. So I think, I don't know, I had to make those mistakes to get to where I am. It would be nice, I guess, if I told her that it would all pay off.
It will all pay off. That's good advice. So I think a lot of times 22-year-olds can be impatient and expect like, why am I not anchoring the Today Show today? You know, it's like, hey, you gotta just keep.
You gotta pay your dues,
and you gotta keep working hard. And eventually, you know, if you stay persistent, good things will come.
The funny thing is, I often joke, especially with the people I met when I was 22. Wouldn't you love to relive our lives back then for one day? Because we were having the time of our lives working in West Lafayette. Like we were loving every minute of our whole lives being news. And it's weird that we were loving that, but that was our life. Like we were always looking for story ideas. We were always in the community, so attuned with what was going on, and we were just enjoying it because we were all in it together. And so, you know, we often joke like, just one night going back to the way things were would be so fun. So I really enjoyed that time in my life, and I'm really grateful for it. I went back to UND the other day to talk to a communication class, and one of the girls is about to start her career as an MMJ the same way I did in a TV news market, and I told
MMJ.
her. So it's a multimedia journalist.
Oh, yes,
so
yes,
you
yes.
shoot and edit your own stories, and you're a reporter. So I did that in West Lafayette.
So you're just hauling that camera around?
Oh, I did that at Fox 59 at the station, or like at the State House. Yeah, I did it was crazy. So yeah, they expect a lot out of their news reporters, and so MMJing is very tough. But I told her, I'm like, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna grow from it.
Do you have advice for traditional broadcast journalists? All of them know their guys should post more on social media of anything that they're doing, but they don't.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're posting but not like getting traction, followers. What would you say?
I wish more journalists posted serious journalism on TikTok and things like that. I think we need to inform people because that's where people are.
And not in the horizontal. Like
Thank you,
you're going to
yes.
crush your algorithm.
Do it.
I tell my buddy Dom this all the time because he does sports.
Yeah.
He was working with Dave Calabro until Dave retired. Clip this thing, but put it in the right aspect ratio and put it on social media. It will do well.
Yeah.
And he every now and again he does one, but it's like you're already doing so much.
They're
like,
overwhelmed. They're
Yes.
overwhelmed, but they should prioritize social media because they can also use that as leverage when these TV news stations have to shift. So if they're looking to get rid of people, I think the person who has the biggest following
It's the most valuable.
Yeah, they're the most valuable.
Well, and you see some of like the bigger, if you're like the biggest Colts beat reporter or whatever, it's like if you have you could just like start a Substack and make $4.99 from
and a lot of people have
10,000 people, you know, and you're fine. Did you once meet Al Roker?
No, I wish. Can we please set that up? It's gonna happen.
We're
it needs to
manifesting
happen.
this.
I love Al. Because I'm going to New York this summer. Please let this come true.
All right.
I'll circle back with you if I meet Al Roker this summer.
She'll circle back. Yes. All right. On to the next one. When you think of the reporting voice versus the mom voice, which one gets what you want more when it comes to parenting?
I actually did a funny report about how my mom voice does not work and my mom look does not work on my son. I think my son probably does pay attention to my news voice because he hears me use it a lot. But it would be interesting if I did my news voice to direct him to behave. I might try that sometime.
Settle down.
This just in, you're grounded.
Yes. Is there like an iconic tagline that you've used in any of your videos where you're like, that was the punchline, the best one I've ever done?
My tagline is always back to you. A funny quotable one.
Yeah.
I really like not all heroes wear capes, but this one should have worn an apron because my son got ketchup on her shirt. And so I was basically saying because she saved me by bringing him ketchup, but then he threw a ketchup covered fork at her. So I was saying, you know, not all heroes wear capes, but this one should have worn an apron. And it just seemed like such a funny thing but that would be something that a news reporter or an anchor would say after a story aired, right? Like they have like that little punch line that leads them in, oh, well, she should have worn an apron, turning now to, you know, like that's just so classic.
You're like, Kayla, you're so clever. That was a good one.
Yeah, and that's what the best anchors do, right? They kind of give you those little tidbits after the story that just make you laugh or giggle. Savannah Guthrie, I think is hilarious. She's my idol. So if I can meet Al and Savannah this summer, let's make that happen. But yeah, like I think they do a really good job of banter and like funny little tidbits and self-deprecating statements or whatever. And that's what I do in my news reports because I love that part of news. I love that part of anchoring. And so I kind of bring it back because like I said, this is all a compilation of the things that I love about the skills that I have and the skills that I want to have and taking from the industry.
I love it. We're down to our final 3 questions, all about the state of Indiana.
Yay!
So you're going to New York this summer. Obviously, you spent time at John Legend's house and a few pretty cool, just casual Tuesday with Mr. Legend, Johnny, as we call him. What's something the world needs to know about Indiana?
Indiana is the best place to raise a family, in my opinion. I just think that we get a little bit of everything. I love that we have all 4 seasons. I think we're a great sports state. I think there's lots to do for families. I think we have good education. I think we have good people. I think we are good neighbors. I think we are affordable. I think, just all the things that you would look for in a community that stands by each other, I think Indiana has. I have only lived in one other state, and it's Oklahoma. So it's not like I've lived anywhere like LA or New York or anything that's, famously known for being fun, I guess you would say. But I love sharing with the world what Indiana has to offer because I do think we get overlooked a lot, and I don't like that. I want people to know that Indiana is a good place to live. And I get sad when people disagree with me, and because I have such a different opinion of our state.
Anywhere you go, there's going to be some things that you may not be happy with, but here's my call out to people is instead of, just complaining about it, it's like go out there and try to brighten people's day and be a better neighbor, do all these things and spread more love, and more love will come back to you.
You'd be surprised. I mean, I think a lot of people do see, if they're not public about it, I think they know that there are good people who live in Indiana and that there are good neighbors who live in Indiana. And we are famously known for our Hoosier hospitality and our friendliness. People are friendly here. Why would you not want to live somewhere where people are just naturally friendly to each other?
Amen. All right, next you get to share a spot that more people need to know about. What is a hidden gem in Indiana?
I think Slick City is so much fun.
Okay, what's Slick City?
Slick City is that slide place.
Yeah.
It's in Brownsburg. It's new, but it is so fun. I was going down these slides and I was getting like that, that like stomach like feeling when you're going downhill. Like I was getting that, and I'm an adult. Like it was fun for me. My son wasn't too scared to go down them, but they also have it for like younger kids. There's a little bit for everybody, but I think it's a really good way to bond with your family. It's affordable in Brownsburg.
Do you ever like in this one, you start and he's flossing and he's doing his dance while you're in Slick City?
Yeah.
Do you ever get in public and you're like, all right, I have to do this thing now, and there's people coming around me and like
it's so embarrassing.
It's so embarrassing.
No
No matter how many followers you have, it's embarrassing.
Oh yeah. No, I get that. And it kind of helps to have people around you, like my husband videoing, because like I know like he knows that this is my job, and I get to kind of like lean on him. But that time I was solo, it was just me and my son. That's why you can tell I like set it up on like just a random table. And so people were just staring at us in public.
Like there's nothing
what is she doing?
worse when you like set up your tripod or whatever.
Like Influencers in the Wild. Have you ever seen that page?
And it's like, dude, like you almost want to be like, hey, I promise that like I don't make those kind of videos. I make the cool videos.
Yeah. No, it's hard. But at the same time, like it's kind of just one of those things where you have to fight through the uncomfortability. And sometimes I regret how much I wasn't in it because I was so aware people were around. Like maybe my news voice doesn't sound as good, or maybe I didn't do what I really wanted to do because I was nervous that people are around. Like I'll talk a little quieter. I know when my husband and I were getting married, I did a lot of like prep. So we were scanning items for our registry, and I wanted to do a report about it because I thought it could be super relatable. And I remember being in Target, and I was like just like so nervous because we were in Target, and I was like doing a report with the little scanner, and he's like, "You're talking so quiet," because I was just kind of awkward. But you just kind of have to. If I had advice for content creators, it would be not to care, but it's easier said than done.
It's so easy. Just don't care. And then it's like you're like in public and someone's looking like someone's like doing their grocery shopping on a Sunday afternoon, and you're like, "This just in."
Yeah, but you'd be surprised. I think we think that they're judging us or they think we're weird, but they may think it's funny, or they may think it's interesting, or they may be a follower. That's what I've come to find, that after I've done it a couple times, people have been like, I love your videos, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, good. Okay.
Once that ice is broken, like if I'm out in public and I'm about to do something and someone goes by and is like, oh my gosh, I love your video. I'm like, cool, I'm good now. Let's rock. Like people know that this is a thing.
I wanted to ask you, because you've had that happen. What do you feel when somebody goes and like recognizes you and like, you're the guy that makes those videos? Like, how do you feel? Do you become awkward?
No, I don't think so. I mean, people will probably know. Like I immediately just try to like treat them. It's the Indiana thing. Like I try to ask them. I always
ask them their name.
What's
ask
their
them
name?
About
Where are you from? And then it's like, oh, they're like this. So this is the mascot thing. I don't know if you've seen, like, that was the thing I did late last year, where I went on a mission to learn every high school mascot in Indiana. But it's a thing that I started in college, because it allowed me to build credibility with people, or like trust with them quick. So they'd be like, where you grow up? And like, I went to Franklin Central High School. I'm like, go Flashes. They're like, oh my God, like, you know me. Like, and then we're like friends now. So I've done it for years, and I just started making videos about it. So that's what I go to. It's like, they tell me they're from New Palestine, and I like, go Dragons, and they're like, yeah, let's go. And then, what did you do there? Or like, where do you live here now? And just have a conversation and try not to be awkward.
That's so great. And I really hope that anybody listening, like, if you see somebody you recognize, it does mean a lot. Like, it means a lot to me that somebody, because I put myself in their shoes, and I'm like, would I say something if I recognize someone, or would I just kind of like quietly walk away and be like, I don't want to bother them? I love it. I love that community, and I love that people are brave enough to come and say, I love your videos, and that's so nice, right? Like, it makes it so worth it.
The craziest first moment was when someone says, can we get a picture together?
Yeah.
And you're like, I was like, this happened to me at the Indians game this past Saturday. Like 3 people, because one person did it, and then the other 2 were like, because somebody starts like a chain reaction. They're like, I guess I'm supposed to get a picture with this guy.
Yeah.
And I got 3 of them, and I was like, this is weird.
You feel so cool.
Like, this is cool.
Yeah.
This is weird.
And then you're like, was I smiling weird?
But then it's like, and then it's like, if you end the conversation, because obviously it's like you have to go do 1,000 things. Like, we're shooting content or whatever. And it's like, well, hey, I have to go, but like, I don't want them to think that I'm like a jerk.
Yeah.
So that's always an interesting balance. The final question that I have for you, coach me through the perfect news voice.
Okay.
What's the advice for the perfect news voice?
If I'm doing a news report, I always start it with like my hand in my ear, and I'm getting in character, right? So like in my head, I'm hearing the anchors tossing to me. So you want me to pretend like I'm at the Indianapolis 500?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing? Okay. So in my ear, I'm hearing them being like, all right, we're going live now to Kayla at IMS. Kayla, what is the energy like? And then I can say, that's exactly right, Bob and Barb. We are here live at IMS. The energy is high. We are so excited. The fans are screaming. You should have seen the snake pit earlier. And you're just describing. You can use your hands to talk. A lot of reporters use their hands.
And it's like slow.
It's slow,
and
but
maybe a little nasally.
It's lower register. You're not like super high. I'm trying to describe. I mean, you kind of have to have that natural voice, and you kind of have to have. You can't really have an accent. You have to talk very clearly. And
is there a specific reporter that you know that has like the craziest change in their voice? Someone who's like, yeah, you talk to them in person, and they're like, this.
Do you think my voice is that much different than my news voice?
I
don't even know.
I would say it's slightly different.
Yeah.
The breathing maybe
it's
is what
almost
changes.
subconscious. And I think I do talk from my diaphragm when I'm on air, or when I'm doing an interview or whatever. Like, it's like it's a different form of breathing. It's a lower register that I talk in, I think. I do think my natural voice comes more from my throat and maybe my nose. I don't know. It's hard. And honestly, once you've been doing it for so long, it's subconscious.
Yeah, it's just like...
I can snap into my news voice. But one of the things that my followers like the most is when I go from an impression of my son or an impression of someone else to my news voice. So it's like, I quote him saying ketchup, because he called ketchup. And I'm like, ketchup! And then I go from that to my news voice. And it's a stark transition that people like. So I try to quote people in their voice to make that transition, because they think it's like impressive, right?
Yeah.
Like, they're like, wow, like, how did she go
The
from
range.
ketchup to her news voice?
That's fun.
Yeah.
And it's these little things where it's like, it's an art form. It's like learning how to put all these puzzle pieces and your different skills and talents of singing to show choir to acting all together into your platform. And it's not surprising that you've had success and that you're over 2 million followers. Like after we've been going for an hour and 15 minutes at this point. Like this is fun.
I wonder if anybody's gonna be interested in what I'm doing.
Heck yeah.
I hope so. You've done a great job with the interview, but
Thank you.
It's hard to like feel like your life is interesting enough for somebody to want to interview
it's
you.
very interesting.
Well,
I love it. Keep up the good work. You are a Hoosier that are making lots of Hoosiers proud, and you're making lots of Hoosiers and non-Hoosiers, we like them too.
Yeah.
Making their day better. Like truthfully, when I see your video, like I laughed out loud. And like not just like LOL. Like I legitimately saw the one about plumbers being upset about the bootylicious leggings or whatever they were. What were they called? Pika booty.
Pika booty.
Yeah. Go look at that video. I laughed out loud. Like just me sitting on my phone, like before bed or whenever it was, and I like chuckled. That's the sign of a good video.
Thank you.
Appreciate as we remember to leave 5 stars and leave a review for us on Spotify and Apple, wherever you listen to podcasts now, and follow Kayla. Well, what are their ats?
So it's Kayla Reporting on TikTok, Kayla Marie Sully on Instagram.
Amazing. Go follow her. Thank you for all the great work you do. I'm excited to see any new fun developments coming down in the future. And we'll have to bring you back in for a live catch up part 2 later on down the road. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Get In. If you like what you heard, make sure you leave us a review wherever you listen to podcasts. This show is made possible by our friends up at Sweetwater. Whether you're looking to start a podcast or take your content to the next level, click the link in the description to see all my gear recommendations at sweetwater.com. If you want a behind-the-scenes look at everything we're doing across the state, make sure you follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Nate Spangle. Thank you so much for listening and being part of what makes the Hoosier State great. We'll see you next time here on Get In.